Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Sharmit. In this session, we will discuss another scenario for Get Diagnostic, and we'll use another new statement and we'll retrieve the value and also discuss like what is the meaning of that particular value which we are retrieving, or we can say we will discuss on all the possible outcome for that particular statement. Okay. So before we start discussing the program, let me show you one table which we are going to use for this demo purpose, and then later we will see the program. So for that I'm just logging to my system, and here I will do STRSQL, and my query is select star from Sharmit1, which is my library name slash, and my table name is students. So here we have only one record in this table, which is a student ID and student name. Okay. So just keep in mind that this is the ID which we have in our file, and there is no other data apart from this. Now we will discuss over the program. So on program, what we have here, first of all, what we are doing, we are declaring one constant SQL state underscore valid with 5 times zeros. Now what is this? SQL state underscore valid is a constant which we will use to verify the query whenever it is executed, because we know that whenever we execute any query, it returns some SQL status. Now if that SQL status matched with this SQL state underscore valid, then it means your query has been successfully completed. But if there is something wrong with the query, it would not return SQL state equal to 5 times zeros SQL state. Okay, so this is just for the verification purpose we usually use in the programs. Okay, and then later we have two variables in it. First one is gd underscore info zone decimal 5. Now there might be one question, how we can get to know about this, like which type of data type should we use for gd info, because gd info is something where we are going to store the retrieved output. Fine. Now to identify the required data type and length, you can refer the IBM official website. There you will find all the statement along with corresponding with their data type and length. So from that particular list itself, you will identify, okay, today I'm fetching this value. So for that, we need to declare that particular variable with their data type and length. Clear? So this is the GD info variable where we will store the output which we are retrieving from the get diagnostic statements. Then we have result variable. Now why we are using this result variable? As we know that we are going to retrieve the value in GD info, which is a numeric variable. Now to print the value, just for the print purpose, like what I'm doing, I'm converting it to SQL, converting it to character. So I just declared this variable result varchar 40. So I will just store this value by converting it to result. This is just for my program purpose. Let's say if I want to use it in a character way, then I just keep both the values in numeric as well as in character. So as per the need, I can reuse it. Okay. Post that, we are just setting the commitment control to star none. It means we are just turning off the commitment control from here, and then we are using the actual query. Now what is actual query? Here we are not using any kind of cursor or any kind of statement. We are just directly running one SQL statement, SQL query, which is this. So for that I am writing exec SQL, which is for execute SQL, delete from Sharmit1 slash students, where student ID is 500. But as we just saw in the query that there is no record available with the ID is 500. So how can it delete it, right? You can see there is no record with 500. So it means this query will not work as expected because there is no available record in with a student ID 500. So in this case, it would generate some SQL code. Now what is SQL code? SQL code is you can say it is an information which tells us about the query, like what type of how the query is executed, means if it is executed successfully or there is something wrong with the query. So accordingly it will provide you the value as output. Now SQL code could be negative value, it could be positive value, or zero as well. So if you are getting SQL code as zero, that means the query has been successfully executed. But if there is negative SQL code or positive SQL code, then it means there is something wrong with the query and we need to take the corrective measures. Fine. So this is all about the SQL code, and this is very important thing, because if you have gone through the previous sessions, you know that we were using the SQL code and SQL state. Both things are same, almost same, because both are used for the verification purpose of the query, but both are important. Because in if you are working with any project, there you will find that yes, there are multiple cases where the people are using the SQL code and SQL states. So that's why here we are just discussing how we can retrieve that particular SQL code with the help of Get Diagnostics. Okay, now this is the query. Post this query, what we are doing, because we know that Get Diagnostics always return the information for the last executed SQL statement. So this is the statement which we are implementing here, and just after that we are executing the Get Diagnostics. So here I'm checking exec SQL executing Get Diagnostics condition 1. Now what is this condition 1? We just want to fetch the current information, so I just mention it like this, and this is a syntax. Just learn that syntax, because whenever there is a need to fetch the SQL code, in that case you can use the same syntax. Just write Get Diagnostics condition 1, where this is our host variable gd info, and the value is coming from this statement DB2 returned SQL state. So what this query will do, it will execute the Get Diagnostics, which will fetch the value of DB2 returned SQL code and store it into the host variable gd info. Then later what we are doing, we are converting this gd info to character, and then that character value we are going to store into the result variable, and then simply we are displaying the result. Okay, although we can write many more lines further as well, but for this session we are mainly focusing on this part, which is Get Diagnostics, because this is the only thing that we are learning in this session, and then setting the star INLR to star on. So let's quickly compile this program and see what it is returning. Compiled, calling it, you can see it is returning SQL code as 100, and which is indicating that there is no record available with a ID 500. Okay, let's slightly change this logic. What will happen if I pass the value as 100? Because we just saw that yes, 100 is there. So let's quickly compile and call it. You can see this time it is returning SQL code as 0, because the query has been successfully completed, and that's why it is returning the SQL code as 0. Okay, and if it is returning other than 100 or 0, that means something is wrong. It could return value in negative terms, in positive terms. So that depends totally on your condition, like which type of query you are using, what type of error occurred. So now what will we got the SQL code, right? Now how to deal with that issues? So for that you just need to visit IBM official website, or you can search directly on Google what is the meaning of SQL code 100. So if you are searching for SQL code 100, it will provide you some reference link. There you will find out initially, for the initial 2-3 links, you will find out the uh, table where you will find all the meaning of the SQL code. Or you can directly go to the IBM official website and just search there. It will provide you that list with all possible SQL code with their meaning. And once you got the meaning, then you can easily change your logic or change the query if there is something wrong, and accordingly you can fetch your result. Okay, so overall thing is that whenever there is a need to retrieve the SQL code with the help of Get Diagnostic statement, in that case you can simply use this statement, which is db2 underscore return underscore SQL code. So this is the statement which we are using with Get Diagnostics in order to fetch the SQL code, because it is returning SQL code, and then that SQL code we can use to verify the query, we can use to check whether the query is executed properly or not, because it is similar to the SQL state, right? So that you can use. The only thing that need our attention is the syntax, because if you remember in previous session we were not using this condition one, but this time we need to use this condition one because we are using conditional information, we are retrieving it conditional information, right? So in such case you need to pass this condition one, and then you can use your db2 underscore returned SQL code. So in the upcoming session as well, like, you make sure that you refer all the session, don't skip the session, because it look like that we are retrieving the same information but it is separate, and there is something separate or something unique in every session. Okay, once you are go through at least one time of these session, then later maybe whenever you find any things related to get diagnostics in your project, then it would be very easy for you to grab that point and complete your task. So yeah, that's all for this session. I hope it is clear to all of you. In the next session we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.